Hi there, welcome to this week midweek market analysis. So as usual, we're going to start off with the dollar index over here. Now, since the start of the week, DXY has been consolidating a little bit. Okay, and last week we did see a very strong impulse move, so that got us the wave 3 potentially there. And as of now, what we'll see is we have our first leg pullback, and yesterday we kind of had a little bit of a pushback up. So right now what we're expecting over here is potentially one more move back down. If this is going to come down correctively, this may develop into a flat kind of structure, and if it's going to be corrective, then we can expect another move back up to complete wave 5, right? So this is currently developing a potential wave 4 over here. So the idea is that if price were to come down correctively towards the around 103 to 102.60 zone around here, we can potentially look for a buy opportunity to the upside for the dollar index, which means short term over here, we can look for bullish dollar opportunity. Now with that said, if you take a look at the euro dollar, okay, so the euro dollar recently of course has this little drop, and right now we're seeing a consolidation. So quite similar, we have a first push up, a push down, so that becomes a one move, second move, and we're anticipating the third move back up. Now we're using a little bit of a fib confluence over here around 50 and 618. If it goes up correctively, that's where we're gonna get a very decent correction. True wave setup, true wave move, and we can then look for sell opportunity to the downside. Alright, so euro over here, do look out for a short-term move back down. Okay, GBP USD here potentially also downside, but I think the structure is slightly different from euro. So from this little peak here, what we're seeing is a potential leading diagonal. Okay, if I were to put in a little bit of a label here, okay, right now it does look something like that. Okay, so we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to be a little bit more precise. That's how it looks like. Okay, so we may be completing a leading diagonal, okay, to the downside, and for that then we'll expect a minimum 1, 2, 3 to complete the corrective structure, and then somewhere around this zone we'll be looking for a sell. So GBP USD may not be a trade setup that we can get this week, but again, if price were to develop correctively back up, perhaps next week around this zone, that would be a good opportunity to look for a sell. Okay, so that gives you a bigger 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's on GBP USD. And then on Aussie dollar over here, we'll suggest to shift the bias from bearish to neutral. We didn't really get that pullback that we want, and the market just kept falling, but coming down quite slow, right? Anyway, if you're in any of this kind of environment, so it's not going to be easy too. And right now price is getting very close to the bottom of this channel. Okay, so of course you wouldn't want to be selling there, because there's a good probability we'll see a bounce first. Okay, and we'll simply just wait for that before we take another sell if we can get a corrective setup. So this can be also a very clear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially a leading diagonal after a 1, 2, 3 move. Okay, so any form of correction here, of course, we'll be definitely interested in sell, because this can opens up a bigger 1, 2, 3, right, breaking the bottom of the channel. So that's the expectation and the bias, okay, just that we want to wait for a correction first before committing to any sell, and for that reason we'll just hold on to a neutral point of view right now. Then we have the dollar Canadian. Dollar Canadian is basically still consolidating. Okay, these are the areas that we don't want to get involved in the trade now, so we just maintain a neutral point of view. There's still a couple of possibility of how this can play out. Of course, this can just come down a little bit, and this can still develop into a simple impulse 1, 2, 3, and then a big move up, right? So that would then be a bullish bias. Alternatively, it can comes down, it doesn't really break this low, and then it goes back up a little bit, break a little bit of that, but face a little bit of resistance to develop into what we know as a crawl. Then this would open up the possibility of a bigger move drop, right? So that will give us that 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there are a couple of ways in which you know, we can look at this right now, and for that reason we just need more clarity. And therefore, you know, I would say just be patient, right? Stay off the market on dollar CAD first, give it time to develop, and then we'll come back when things are clearer. Okay. Then we have the dollar yen. So dollar yen over here would be quite the similar point of view in terms of the XY. Okay, so we can get an impulse third wave potentially, and this may turn into a fourth wave, kind of a flat structure. So same thing over here, if we can get a pullback towards like 137.6, 136.80, that will be a potential buy trade for wave 5 to retest the top of the channel. Now, if you don't really get a nice decent pullback and this just continue to develop like that, of course, that wouldn't be a buy trade anymore, because then we'll be looking for, you know, wave 5 potentially completing there, and we can then look for a bigger U-turn. Right? So we're bullish only if we can get a corrective pullback, and then we'll write this up. If we get a slow move continuation to the upside, then we'll start to shift our bias towards neutral, and then potentially start looking for sell if that's going to be the case. So that's on dollar yen. And then we have XAU USD. So gold actually did a pretty nice dip last 2 weeks, right? 1, 2, 3, and right now we're seeing a little bit of a consolidation. And this consolidation seems to be developing a pretty neat three-wave structure as of now. Okay, so we're gonna update this a little bit. Okay, a potential WXY. So ideally we want to see this development to be slow. He doesn't want this to just go up fast. Okay, so if that's gonna be slow move to the upside, what we describe as corrective, this area here will be a good decent opportunity to look for a sell, and of course the invalidation will be at this recent high. So what it means is that as long as price remains below 2022, we'll likely expect a little bit more downside for gold. Okay. Now how far this can go, okay, if you're pretty conservative, you can look for areas somewhere around there for your targets. Okay, for your take profit, you can consider that. If you would like to go for more, of course, you know, we have quite a bit of downside after that, but again, you know, you don't want to be selling gold for the long run. Any sell on gold to me is kind of considered a short-term opportunity, because overall, from a longer term and fundamental point of view, I think gold would be bullish going maybe into end of the year, into next year. Okay, so any sell setup that you see on gold, just take it as a short-term move. Cool. Then we have crude oil. Okay, so crude oil over here basically consolidating as well. So if you can get a decent pullback around the zone, that will be a buy trade. Simple impulse 1, 2, 3 upside. Okay, so this is still quite a clear structure. We basically just need to be patient, wait for the pullback, right? S&P index. So yesterday it did have a retracement. Again, we always share, you know, when you see an impulse correction, don't try to catch the top, right? We always expect a deeper pullback. Okay, so right now we'll be observing around at 50 and 618. If we can get a decent bounce from there, we can expect one more pushback to retest the top at 4300. Okay, but this one here, you definitely want to wait and see how the market comes towards that area, right? If it just goes down fast, there's no reason to be buying it. Ideally, you want to see this come down in terms of a crawl, or you see a strong little rejection, a tiny little pullback, that will be a buy trade. Right, so S&P, just be a little bit patient, wait for it, right? Neutral. Pound Australia, I'm looking at it from this angle over here, where we may get a decent rejection, so that's definitely a decent opportunity to get involved in the sell. We do have a little bit of a top here, three-wave structure, so we're looking at this as an impulse correction and then one more drop. Okay, so I think that's one of the closest potential setup you may get the next couple of days. Okay, and then BTC here, we're also bullish on this, quite similar to crude oil, right? Impulse 1, 2, 3, somewhere around this zone will give us a decent buy. So I'm bullish on BTC for now. Okay, good. So there are a couple of opportunities, I would say, for the next couple of days to be keeping watch. If it doesn't happen, then maybe, you know, it might take a little bit longer. Maybe you'll stretch it over towards like early next week. Okay, but these are definitely some opportunities you want to keep an eye on, because they may start to give you a chance for a decent trade setup. Good. That's all for me for today's video over here. All the best to you, and see you guys in the next one.